Good morning and welcome to the Markets Watch section of Financial Markets. I'm your host, Victor Chiveru, to bring you insights on the performance of all the entities listed on the East African financial markets and a broad analysis for investors to understand how to go about their performance. But as usual, would want to go straight into the performance of the Uganda Securities Exchange from yesterday's trading session to understand how these entities performed and also how the top gainers and the bottom losers attained those respective positions. But just to go into the digits, we ended yesterday's trading session with a total of 1,547,334 shares, corresponding to a market value of 222,104,892 Ugandan shillings. Now, compared with the previous trading session, we're looking at a 385% improvement in volume, and this is all leading us to a market capitalization of 20 trillion Ugandan shillings. Now, we're obviously seeing a decrease in the capitalization, in the market capitalization in comparison with yesterday's trading session, but it's just by a few points, and hopefully by the end of today's trading session, the performance of these entities will have brought this number up. But in aggregate, we're looking at 6 Uganda Securities Exchange listed equities participating in yesterday's trading, and we ended with 3 gainers as well as 8 losers. Centum Investments led the gainers with a 2.48% share price appreciation, closing at 251.54 Ugandan shillings per share. Closely followed was Umeme with a 2.17% share price appreciation. We've been seeing a lot of activity from Umeme ever since their announcement from last year of withdrawal from the country, and so many people are in a hurry to get these shares because they are really valuable at this particular point in time. But Umeme Limited was actually the first incorporated in Uganda as a private limited company, and that happened on May 6th of 2004. But later on it was converted into a public company on 28th June of 2012 under the Companies Act. Umeme is actually a subsidiary of Umeme Holdings, which is itself a subsidiary of Actis Infrastructure 2 LP, an investment fund under the management of Actis through a holding company in Mauritius. Actis Infrastructure Umeme Limited, and Umeme actually took over the distribution system for the distribution and supply of electricity in Uganda from the Uganda Electricity Distribution Company Limited under the concession for a period of 20 years commencing March 1st, 2005. And Umeme is listed on the Uganda Securities Exchange under the ticker symbol UMEM, and more information on their international securities identification number can be found on the Uganda Securities Exchange website for more information. But in terms of numbers, we are looking at shares outstanding of 1.62 billion and a market capitalization of 763 billion Ugandan shillings. And the current share price of Umeme is at 470 Ugandan shillings per share. Umeme actually closed the trading session with that exact figure, and with comparison from yesterday's trading session, we're looking at a 2.2% gain over the previous closing price of 460 Ugandan shillings per share. Umeme actually began the year with a share price of 400 Ugandan shillings and has since actually gained a 17.5% on that price valuation. This is actually ranking it the 8th on the Uganda Securities Exchange in terms of year-to-date performance. But Umeme is the most traded stock on the Uganda Securities Exchange, and that has been so over the past 3 months. And Umeme has traded a total volume of 45.3 million shares valued at 19.6 billion Ugandan shillings over the period. This is coming in with an average of 719,250 traded shares per session, and a volume high of 15.3 million was achieved on March 27th of the very same period. We're looking at a change of a positive change of 10 Ugandan shillings per share, and in percentage it went up by 2.17% share price. But looking into other gainers on the Uganda Securities Exchange from yesterday's trading session, we are looking at MTN Uganda, that also went up by 1.01%, and MTN Uganda has actually also been going in and about the news about their price appreciation. This is particularly because of their share prices being oversubscribed. It appears investors have been on the lookout to attain stock from MTN for quite a while, and when they all got the chance, they made sure they utilized the opportunity. But MTN Group is actually a leading market operator, connecting subscribers in 22 countries in Africa and the Middle East. MTN is listed on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange in South Africa, the Nigerian Stock Exchange, the Ghana Stock Exchange, and the Uganda Securities Exchange. And as of June 30th, 2017, MTN recorded 232 million subscribers across its operations in Afghanistan. We're looking at Benin, Botswana, Cameroon, Ivory Coast, Cyprus, Ghana, Guinea-Bissau, Guinea Republic, Iran, Liberia, Nigeria, Republic of Congo, Congo-Brazzaville, Rwanda, South Africa, Sudan, South Sudan, Swaziland, Syria, Uganda, Yemen, and Zambia. So MTN is listed on the Uganda Securities Exchange under the ticker symbol MTNU, and it has been listed since December 6th of 2021. More information on their international securities identification number can be found on the Uganda Securities Exchange as well. But in terms of figures, we're looking at 22.4 billion shares outstanding and 3.84 trillion Ugandan shillings in terms of market capitalization. Their current share price is at 171.71 Ugandan shillings per share. And that is the figure it closed the previous trading session with. But in comparison with the previous trading session, we're looking at a share price of 170.55 Ugandan shillings per share. This was actually recording a 1% gain from their previous closing price. But for context, MTN Uganda began the year with a share price of 170.55 Ugandan shillings and has since gained 0.68% on that price valuation. This is ranking it 11th on the Uganda Securities Exchange in terms of year-to-date performance. MTN is the third most traded stock in Uganda, and it has been so over the past 3 months. But MTN Uganda has recorded a total volume of 15.7 million shares valued at 2.68 billion Ugandan shillings over the period. This is giving us an average of 249,189 traded shares, and that is per session, but it is leaving a volume high of 6.56 million, and that was achieved on June 14th of the very same period. But that has been from the gainers side, but we'd want to also look into the bottom losers to see which entities ended up on that other side as of yesterday. But we are looking at National Insurance Corporation coming out last with an end of day price depreciation of 8.33%, closing at 5.50 Ugandan shillings per share. It was followed by Nation Media Group with a 6.51 share price depreciation, KCB Group with a 6.19 share price depreciation, as well as Airtel Uganda that went down by 5.41% in terms of share price. MTN recorded the highest volume of traded shares as of yesterday with a 1.17 million traded shares, followed by Airtel Uganda that recorded 282,775, Bank of Baroda Uganda with 76,542, and National Insurance Corporation with 19,700 in terms of traded shares. So shifting our focus onto the market indices, we're looking at the benchmark index, which is the all share index, and it plummeted 22.34, and that is a depreciation of about 2.12%, points to close at about 1,031.07. This was representing a 1-week loss of 2.63%, a 4-week loss of 4.94%, but an overall year-to-date gain of 18.71%. The Uganda Securities Exchange Local Company Index also decreased by 0.98% to 260.44 points, making it a 1-week loss of 1.15% and a 4-week loss of 1.37%, as well as a year-to-date loss of 4.2%. But hopefully by the end of today's trading session, we shall have seen more improvement from the local company index, and hopefully the local companies will be benefiting from those moves. But we are also yet to see more top gainers as well as bottom losers coming in from the Uganda Securities Exchange by the end of today's trading session. But we'd also want to look at another major player, the biggest securities exchange in East Africa, and we're looking at the Nairobi Securities Exchange. We have a number of cross-listed entities on the Nairobi Securities Exchange and the Uganda Securities Exchange as well. So we'd want to understand how business went down on that end as well. But at the end of yesterday's trading session, we're seeing a total of 9,147,000 traded shares in about 1,010 deals. This was corresponding to a market value of 189,056,413 Kenyan shillings, and that was what was traded in those deals. Compared with the previous trading session, we are looking at a 50% decline in volume and a 49% decline in turnover, as well as a 9% improvement in deals. This is leaving a market capitalization of 1.71 trillion Kenyan shillings. In aggregate, we're looking at 42 Nairobi Securities Exchange listed equities participating in trading, and we ended with 11 gainers and 25 losers. Express Kenya led the gainers with a 9.9% share price appreciation, closing at 3.22 Kenyan shillings per share. It was followed by Umeme, and Umeme also went up by 7.19%. And let's not fail to highlight that the performance on the Uganda Securities Exchange in terms of Umeme might have also affected the general peaking of the entity's share price. But let's wait and see how today's trading session closes, and we shall have a broader view on the company's way to go. But the Standard Group also followed with a 4.94% share price appreciation. Britam Holdings also came up with a 3.3%, and Britam Holdings actually hasn't been showing any movement as of late on the previous trading sessions, but Britam has had its share price stagnant for quite a while. But looking at their history, they were actually formerly known as British American Investment Company Limited, and they are a diversified financial services company based in Kenya. The company was actually founded in 1965 and now commonly known as Britam. And its headquarters are in Nairobi, Kenya, with subsidiaries in Uganda, South Sudan, Rwanda, Tanzania, Malawi, and Mozambique. So the flagship company of the group is the British American Insurance Company Kenya, and it is commonly referred to by its brand name Britam Kenya. And in 2011, Britam listed its shares on the Nairobi Securities Exchange. But looking into its operations, it has 4 segments, and we're looking at long-term insurance, protecting, which is protection for customers against the risk of premature death, disability, critical illnesses, and other accidents. We're looking at life insurance, a range of products including unit-linked products, education plans, whole life plans, and other conventional products. Short-term insurance, which is basically protection of assets, particularly properties for both personal and commercial businesses. Asset management also comes in with a discretionary and a segregated portfolio management services, wealth management services, as well as unit trust funds. Britam Holdings Limited is listed on the Nairobi Securities Exchange under the ticker symbol BRIT. And more information on their international securities identification number can be found on the website of the Nairobi Securities Exchange in case you're interested in knowing more about this equity. But going into the figures, we are looking at a 2.52 billion shares outstanding and an overall 14.2 billion Kenyan shillings in terms of market capitalization. Their current share price stands at 5.80 Kenyan shillings. And with comparison with the previous trading session, we're looking at a 3.3% gain over its previous closing price, which was 5.46 Kenyan shillings. Britam began the year with a share price of 4.79 Kenyan shillings and has since gained 17.8% on that price valuation. This is ranking it the 14th on the Nairobi Securities Exchange in terms of year-to-date performance. Now, Britam Holdings is the 23rd most traded stock on the Nairobi Securities Exchange and has been so over the past 3 months. Britam has traded a total volume of 3.42 million shares in about 997 deals, and all this is actually valued to about 19.1 million Kenyan shillings. And looking into the average, it has about 54,313 traded shares per session, and leaving a volume high of 585,800, which was achieved on April 25th, and a low of 300 on April 23rd of the very same period. But looking into other aspects on the Nairobi Securities Exchange, we're seeing that Britam might also peak throughout the beginning of the first half of the coming week of the new month. So hopefully we're yet to see how it responds to the East African financial environment, particularly the financial environment within Nairobi. But looking onto the losing side, we're seeing Flame Tree Group Holdings coming out last with a price depreciation of 8.53%, closing at 1.18 Kenyan shillings per share. It was followed by Home Africa with a 5.71% share price depreciation. Nairobi Securities Exchange itself went down by 5.18%. Uchumi Supermarket went down by 5%. And looking into the highest recorded volume, where Safaricom coming in with 3.79 million traded shares, followed by Kenya Reinsurance Corporation with 2.23 million. Absa Bank Kenya also recorded some trading volume of 1.07 million, and Kenya Power and Lighting Company with 514,000. So shifting our focus onto the market indices, of which the Nairobi Securities Exchange has quite a number. But starting with the benchmark, which is the All Share Index, it declined by 1.98, which is a depreciation percentage of about 1.78 points to close at 109.02, representing a 1-week loss of 4.79%, a 4-week loss of 4.69%, but an overall year-to-date gain of 18.36%. Other remarkable indices that performed were the NSE 10 share index that went down by 1.54%, leaving a 4.91 depreciation in terms of 1 week, and a year-to-date gain of 22.53%. The 20 share index also went down by 0.58%, leaving a 1 week loss of 5.18%, and an overall year-to-date gain of 9.41%. The 25 share index also went down by 1.35%, an overall 1 week loss of 4.14%, as well as a year-to-date gain of 19.61%. Now, that has been all from the analysis of the East African financial markets. We're yet to see a lot more going down as this week wraps up. And today's trading sessions, we are expecting to see movements and companies coming up to fight for the top gainers positions, and also companies being affected by various situations, which could be internal or external. But we'll be right back from a very short break, and we'll come back with more insights from financial events that are affecting the performance of these listed entities.
Smart 24, driving business.
Amanya gange nze Namutebi Sharon nga nkolera wano wennyini Saka Kirombe oba Makindye. Empangula gye nawanguddemu ssente mbadde nga nkozesa mobile money nga nsindika school fees w'omwana ku ssomero. Okutegeera nti mpangudde, nze mutima neegambye nti kambalinde bamale okujja ndyoke nzikirize nti mpangudde. Kyenyinza okubagamba nti si byabafere, weewaawo abafere gye bali, naye ennamba eri emu yokka, era bw'eba ekukubidde omanya eyo si yabafere. Mpulira bulungi nnyo 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 era ndi musanyufu nnyo. MTN mobile money mbebaza nnyo mwebale nnyo mwebalire.
Together we're unstoppable.
Luxury redefined at CSAN Hotel as you indulge in the splendor of elegant living fit for the royalty that you are. Step into comfort, pampering and blissful customer-centric service as you select from our range of comfy exquisite living quarters furnished to meet with your royal preference. Surrounded by scenic beauty, our tropical setting allows you to escape the glamorous ordeal of city life. Our ambient green gardens will guide you to a place of revitalizing rest. The 3-star restaurant caters to your palate, serving your choice menu ranging from exotic cuisines to local delicacies. Our chefs will serve you full course meals for a truly out-of-this-world culinary experience. Our fully stocked bar to whet your throat, from renowned global brand whisks, brandies, gins, beers and wines to our locally celebrated beverages, you will not lack for any brewage. It's an all-new experience in the East at CSAN Hotel. So visit today at plot 15 to 19 Spire Road, Ginger, or contact us on +256 751 719 960 and +256 785 354 614 for reservations. CSAN Hotels, luxury redefined.
3 inspired souls brought together by love are set on a life-changing journey.
This is your life, Mackenzie. It's no longer a dream.
It's just something about Mackenzie.
I'll never marry you.
Your position does not allow you to break work relationship rules.
where choices change everything. Crossroads, a brand new telenovela starting 25th June at 8 p.m. on Pearl Magic Prime. DSTV channel 148, GoTV channel 303.
Amanya gange nze Naswa Sharafa, mbeera Kawempe, era nga nkola liquid soap. Liquid soap okuva COVID we yajja abantu ne batandika bagamba banabe mu ngalo awo naffe twatandikira okuyingira mu business ya liquid soap. Wano mazeewo weeks 2 era nga nkuguse mu liquid soap banyongeddemu skills mweyo yennyini product yange. Skills zenjize wano ngenda zikozesa okulaba nga product yange ekyukamu kuba era we baali batuyigiriza twayiga batuyigiriza mu business development ne batuyigiriza design thinking tuwetadde tutya mu ngato z'abakasitoma baffe. Bakasitoma baffe buzibu ki bwe bafuna mu products zaffe. Twalaba omukisa ne tuddayo eri bakasitoma baffe ne tubabuuza bizibu ki bye basanga kati nga nze akola liquid soap ne mbuuzaako awo bizibu ki bye musanga mu business yange. Abamu ne baŋŋamba liquid soap amazzi, liquid soap ayokya. Ne tukomawo wano Madam Grace n'atuyigiriza in a practical way. Ne tuyiga liquid soap omulungi agenda okuyamba bakasitoma baffe. Obubaka bwennyini eri project ya Grow mbeebaza beebale kutuyigiriza beebale tu including ffe abaliko obulemu ne batateekamu kirowoozo nti tetusobola ne bamanya nti disability is not inability. Era tusaba batongereyongere bongere tuyigiriza in other skills ne webabaawo obusobozi batongere mu capital.
Grow, generating growth opportunities and productivity for women enterprises.
Cooking oil like no other makes your meal so sweet and scrumptious. The taste of Uganda, yeah, the taste of Uganda, the taste of Uganda, yeah, I want ya.
Smart 24, driving business.
From that short break, but to proceed with insights coming in from the financial news environment here in East Africa, I want to understand what headlines are going back and forth and affecting these entities' performance on the stock exchanges. But one of our headlines as of today was Pan-African insurer TD's net profit tripling to a record $69 million on new business. But African Trade and Investment Development Insurance, also known as TD's net profit for the financial year ended December 2023 tripled to a record $69.1 million on increased uptake of the insurer's political and credit risks products on the continent. But the multilateral development insurer, which has over 24 members in terms of countries, including Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, saw the net earnings rise from their recently stated net earnings from 2022 of $22.7 million. And the 2022 net profit was initially reported as the $32.8 million, but was restated in line with the global switch to international reporting standard, which is the IFRS 17 from IFRS 4. So they actually stated in their latest report that they are happy that the 2023 had been their best financial performance in their history, and that was according to their CEO Manuel Moses during their annual general meeting in Zambia. So it is actually a testament to the soundness of their business fundamentals and strategies. So we're looking at their resilience and the quality of the risk mitigating solutions that they provide, and lay a solid foundation for more rewards throughout the years. But Atidi netted new business worth of $226 million in the previous year alone. So this is a 70% rise from the $133 million in the previous year, as more African governments and private businesses made use of their products. So the year saw new countries such as Angola and Mali join Atidi, while existing member countries such as Senegal, Tanzania, Benin, Cote d'Ivoire, Niger, Ethiopia and Nigeria took up new insurance, and we're looking at Burkina Faso and Chad becoming the latest members in the latest new members in early 2024. So the new business actually took Atidi's gross exposure and the value of outstanding insurance covers to about $9.6 billion at the end of 2023. This is showing a 19% growth from the $8.1 billion at the end of the preceding year. So Atidi's total assets jumped by 27% to $837 million, while shareholders' funds rose by a quarter to $700 million from $516 million. So Atidi now targets to hit a capital base of $1 billion by the end of 2027. And at the AGM, shareholders approved a dividend of $17.3 million, more than double from the $8.3 million paid in the previous year's performance. So all these are actually a testament of their resilience amidst the difficult period for most of the African economies, as well as a sound strategy and purpose and commitment to their execution of plans. But the country continues actually to see benefits that Atidi offers to them, and therefore the increased use of their political risk and commercial risk policies. That was according to Gladys Karuri, the Chief Finance Officer of Atidi. So Atidi is actually rated by both S&P and Moody's, and has maintained its strong rating at S&P and A3 at Moody's. Even a number of countries it operates in have actually faced credit downgrades from this situation. But the insurer started a political risk insurance in 2001 with the backing of Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa and the World Bank. But with focus being on encouraging foreign investors to invest in Africa, this is indeed a very clever move from this equity. But it continues to mention that it followed it up with the credit risk, and it is giving private companies mainly the comfort to trade with each other. But we're waiting to see how it continues to grow throughout the year, and this is another very, very promising company to invest in. Hopefully entities like NSSF are looking into getting part of the African Trade and Investment Development Insurance. But in other headlines, we're looking at the situation in Nairobi with the finance bill and how it is affecting the performance of financial markets in East Africa. But while that is happening, we're also at the same time looking at IMF approving $570 million and that is a Zambia payout that has increased the loan to $1.7 billion. But looking into this particular situation, we're looking at the IMF mentioning on Wednesday that its executive board had completed the third review of shifting our focus onto what is coming in from the global markets. We're looking at the Asian shares advancing, the Asian shares advancing ahead of the US inflationary report, and we're looking at particularly the South Korea financial markets and currency trader passes we are looking at what they are expecting from these inflationary warnings. But from Tokyo, Asian shares gained Friday as traders looked ahead to key report on inflation that could influence the Federal Reserve's next move on interest rates. Japan's benchmark, the Nikkei 225, rose 0.4% to about 39,585.08. Australia's S&P ASX 200 rose by 0.1% to 7,768, and South Korea's Kospi edged 0.1% higher to 2,787.51. Hong Kong's Hang Seng added 0.3% to 17,767.95, while Shanghai's Composite surged by 0.9% to 2,971.18. In Japan, the government actually reported industrial production was stronger than their forecast in May at 2.8%, and the unemployment rate was unchanged from the previous month of 2.6%. On Thursday, which was yesterday, the S&P 500 eked out 0.1% gain, and the benchmark index has been hovering near the all-time high it last set, which was last week. But the Nasdaq Composite also rose by 0.3% and remains just below its all-time high, and the Dow Jones Industrial Average closed at 0.1% higher. And all told, the S&P 500 rose by 4.97 points. We're looking at it closing at about 5,482.87. The Dow added 36.26 points, closing at 39,164.06. The Nasdaq gained 53.53 points to close at 17,858.68. So gains in retailer and communication services companies helped outweigh losses in consumer goods makers, financial stocks, and elsewhere in the market. Amazon.com rose 2.2% and Meta Platforms added 1.3%. Walgreens Boost Alliance plunged 22.2% for the biggest drop in the S&P 500, and its reported results that fell shy of forecasts and cut its outlook. But the company has said it could close hundreds and more of their stores in the coming 3 years. So jeans maker Levi Strauss sank by 15.4% after its latest quarterly revenue results fell short by analysts' expectations. So, along with its current earnings forecast for the year seems to be shaky. Spice maker Maconic rose by 4.3% for one of the biggest gains in the market after beating analysts' earnings forecast. The chip maker Micron Technology fell 7.1% after its latest forecast left investors disappointed, and treasury yields fell in the bond market, and the yield on the 10-year treasury, which influences interest rates on mortgages and other consumer loans, fell by 4.28% from its 4.33%, which was late Wednesday. The yield on the 2-year treasury fell to 4.71% from 4.75%. The stock market has been listless this week in the lead up to Friday's release of the next influential inflation report from the government. So the Personal Consumption Expenditures Index, or the PCE, is the Fed's preferred measure of inflation, and economists actually expect the report to show modest and to show a modest easing of inflation to 2.6% in May, following a 2.7% reading in April. So that's down from the PCE's peak of 7.1% in the middle of 2022. Other measures of inflation, including the Consumer Price Index, have also eased significantly over the last 2 years. So latest updates on inflation could influence the central bank's decision on when it begins cutting interests, which remains at their highest level in more than 20 years, and in this case, we're having an impact worldwide. But the Wall Street has been betting that the central bank will start cutting interest rates at its September meeting. So an update from the government said that the American economy expanded at 1.4% annual pace from January through March, and the figure is actually a slight revision from the prior estimate of 1.3%. It marks the slowest quarterly growth since spring of 2022, and a slowdown in consumer spending could help further ease inflation. But too much of a slowdown could also result in a more painful hit to the economy. So the Federal Reserve is trying to time its efforts, tame inflation back to its 2% target without slowing the economy so much that it slips into a recession. So the S&P 500 is on pace to notch its 4th straight winning week, with one more trading day left this month, and that index is up just under 4% for June and up about 15% so far this year. In energy trading, benchmark US crude rose 47 cents to about $82.27 US dollars a barrel. Brent crude and the International Standard added 46 cents, which is about 86.85 US dollars a barrel. And in currency trading, the US dollar rose to 161, and the Japanese yen from 160.72 yen, and the euro cost 1.0693 dollar, and down from 1.0709 dollars. But that has been all from the Financial Markets Watch for today. We're yet to see a lot more going down within the East African financial markets and globally, because let's not forget, most of these currencies actually affect the performance of these entities on the stock exchanges. So it's also worth looking into the performance of these currencies and any news that could be affecting them, and possibly ripple the same effect to the equities listed on these entities. But we're yet to see more happening throughout the weekend for crypto, and hopefully we will bring more insights on that next week as the financial markets open once again. I have been your host for today, and we will meet in the next Market Watch session.